Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. A lot has happened with regards to the wintry and snowy weather across the UK and Ireland over the last 3 days or so, and as I talked about in the previous videos before I went away, we were expecting a big low to push up from the south and bring the risk of snow and freezing rain, and that is exactly what happened. And I just thought I'd show you some photos from around the UK and Ireland, showing you essentially what happened. This is one from County Durham, from Poole Kingston, and you can see this is an insane dumping of snow. This looks like maybe 30 centimeters, possibly more, with icicles, rime ice as well. A very severe wintry photo. Clearly a lot of snow fell there. That wasn't just the only region though. We saw heavy snowfall in Limerick and Ireland. This looks maybe like it was shoveled, but still a mass amount of snow to even be able to do kind of that. And as you can see, no electricity, no water, which sounds very concerning. And then similar thing, this is someone recording 13 inches in West Limerick, Ireland. Again, a massive dumping of snow. A cute dog there, but you can really see a massive amount has piled up across the floor, on the bins, on the roads. So pretty severe and a relatively high-end snow event did occur for many regions. And actually I was driving down from Scotland, from the Cairngorms, which saw pretty good snow themselves, but as we went down through parts of southern Scotland, I saw a lot of snow there across the hills, and especially as we went into parts of Cumbria, across the lakes, you could see they were completely snow covered. And actually the snow was on the ground the day after or 2 days after, pretty far south, even to parts of northwest England and the Midlands, which I assumed the snow would have melted by then. So really some pretty significant stuff, especially I think across parts of Ireland, western central Ireland, northern England, the Pennines and the lakes, and then into just about parts of southern Scotland as well. So yeah, pretty decent snow event, at least for our standards. Hopefully none of the impacts are too bad, but as that low does clear away, we're now looking at further snow risks through the week, which I'll talk about now. So there's our big low. You can see now sitting in between Norway and Sweden. And on the west side of that, we're pulling in a strong northerly wind. High pressure remains to our west. If we take a look at the air mass chart, you can see we're widely below that -5 level at 850 hectopascals. As a reminder, that's where the level of the atmosphere where the pressure equals 850 hectopascals. That's roughly 1.5 kilometers above the ground, so a good indication of the air mass. And as you can see, -5 all across the UK and Ireland, that's widely cold enough for snow. And in areas further north, we're looking at -6, -7, so even better. And the difference between this cold upper air temperature and then the surface of the sea, which is maybe 6, 7, 8 degrees, that creates a strong lapse rate, a change in temperature. You get instability, that air rises to try and equalize the difference in temperature, and as a result you get convection, because as the air rises it cools, it condenses, and you get showers starting to form. And if you take a look at the radar, that's exactly what we've got. All these specks of blue, green, yellow and red are indicating snow showers, and we've got many areas which are going to see a lot of these and build up a fairly consistent accumulation through today and tomorrow. The main one, as usual, is Scotland, and it seems we've got some sort of trough or band of kind of higher lift, which has allowed these showers to organise more. But still, behind that, we've got heavy snow showers pushing in. This band of snow is going to move to the south, probably getting into areas of central and southern Scotland, but they will break up over the mountains of the Highlands and the Cairngorms. Still, this is going to all fall as snow and widely bring maybe 5 centimeters of snow, possibly even a bit more, with snow showers pushing in behind. We're also then going to have another band of snow across parts of Northern Ireland, which is pushing in now. You can see the general motion is moving just about to the southeast, and if we turn the weather type off, red indicates fairly decent rain rates, so that's maybe 10 to 20 millimeters an hour. If you convert that to snow, that's a few centimeters an hour, so possibly some significant accumulations across Northern Ireland there. Similarly, across parts of Western Ireland itself, you're going to still have those snow showers pushing in, as you can see, but the precipitation type may be a little bit more mixed. Actually, if we go through this map here, this is showing the temperatures and the dew points. For snow, we need the dew point to be 0 or below. And you can see across most of the country of Ireland and the UK, we're looking at generally values of 0 or lower. You can see across the Midlands, generally 1 to -1, so slightly slightly too warm for snow in some places across the south, but further north, essentially anywhere in light green or blue, more than cold enough for snow. You can see immediate coast of Ireland, and then Northern Ireland maybe a tad too warm. But inland across Northern Ireland, where we see these snow showers piling in, you're going to get fairly decent accumulations, and you can see they've been relatively non-stop. This is from basically 2 hours ago, and if I play through that, you can see they just keep on coming, and especially when you compare it to the forecast radar from the UKV, this is not very, let's go to 10, you can see here's the UKV, this is what it was thinking was going to happen, light snow showers. That's not really happened. They're much more heavy, and we're going to get them pushing in from behind. So I think across northern areas of the country of Ireland / northwestern, so this sort of region here, and then actually Northern Ireland, the country itself, we're going to see widely snowfall today. Some areas could see accumulations of 5 centimetres. Similar situation for Scotland. Widely, areas of basically from the central belt northwards are going to see accumulations of snowfall, some areas 5-10 centimetres. Also across northwest England and Wales, you can see we've got areas of snow showers piling in, and if you take a look at the radar, check out all these new developments. So we're actually continuing to see snow showers developing, and that's going to continue to push into parts of the Midlands, Wales, Northern England, Northwest England, and if you compare to the radar, you can see they're generally stronger than forecast, and the forecast is for them to continue throughout the day and through the night. So especially across high ground and areas away from the immediate coast, because they're going to see it's going to be slightly too warm in this sort of region here because you're close to the sea. But areas inland of that could see maybe 5 centimetres or so locally, and this blob of snow is going to be pushing down into the Midlands anyway, same as the one across Wales, as you could as you can see there. So generally quite a few areas of the UK and Ireland seeing snowfall today. But you may be asking, what about from tomorrow and onwards? Well, we're going to still have the risk of those showers during tomorrow, especially across northern Scotland and Northern Ireland. And on top of that, the cold air is going to be remaining in place, so it's going to be feeling very, very cold. I'll just show you some of the temperatures forecast from the UKV. Maximums tomorrow of maybe just 2-3 degrees, even across the south, much colder further north, sub-zero across Ireland and Northern Ireland, even -3, -4 as a maximum across Northern England and into Scotland. But some of the minimums are also very, very crazy. You can see -10 across high ground of Northern England into southern Scotland. I mean, -16 across high ground of Northern England. That's quite extreme for Thursday. Similar thing across Southwest Ireland. So definitely the potential for very, very, very cold weather over the next few days in terms of the temperature, the feels like temperature. However, snowfall, the situation is a bit more tricky. If I play through this GFS run here, you can see we've got a low pushing in from the south, a frontal band around kind of 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And you may think, great, if you're a snow lover in the south, that's going to be a significant snow event for you, maybe 5 centimetres, 10 centimetres. And if we look at the Canadian model, you would think the same thing. You can see, look, Wednesday afternoon, got a snow event there, looking good, that's exciting, it's just tomorrow. But kind of unbelievably, given that we're in 48 hours of this happening, we actually, the model confidence is not that good. If having showed you those two, if I showed the European model, not even snow across the south coast, it's just a light dusting of rain. The icon, flurries of snow across the very far south and southwest. The French arpege, you can see similar thing, rain across the south coast. Basically a complete non-event, nothing happening. If we take a look at the UKV model, you can see similar thing to the icon, flurries of snow across the far south on Wednesday evening. So you've got two conflicting scenarios. I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I believe we're not going to get a snowfall event. The Met Office has got a warning out for snow. To be honest, I think the majority of the models are saying it's going to go south. The history says these things go generally further south than you think, and also the history says underestimate the strength of high pressure, which controls how far north it goes. North or south, sorry. There is, however, a case to be made for it going more like the GFS. I'll make it now, and then I'll basically say what I just said, which is I don't think it's going to happen, but still, it's something to look out for, and we can examine this potential scenario by looking at the upper air pattern. This is on windy.com, showing the jet stream, which is basically the winds at essentially 9 to 10 kilometers above the ground. The brighter the colour, the stronger the winds. And you can see this is for right now. We have our low pressure system in the central Atlantic, a nice wave in the jet stream, and as a result, it's sitting that left exit. It's very diffluent. The winds are spreading apart, as you can see there. Let me clear that so you can see it better. Winds are spreading apart. That's upper level divergence, lift, and our low actually deepens for a time as it moves to the west, as you can see there. It gets slightly deeper, but then it's essentially stuck in a bit of a kind of, there's nothing going on. The winds are light. It just drifts to the west, and at the same time, we have this extension to the east. So that actually starts to elongate this into a broad frontal zone, as you start to see happen then. And so much so that the GFS splits this into a separate low pressure system. And then we get this new one starting to move east. But it's not very strong, it's not very developmental, and it's fairly weak. However, because it's elongated, you've got vorticity, which is essentially spin along the entire length of this frontal zone, and anywhere where you've got strong enough vertical motion can develop it into a new low pressure center. And that's actually what causes the GFS to have a snow event, because across this eastern half of the frontal zone, where you've got vorticity, which is ready for development, at the same time, you're in another diffluent region at the upper levels, which increases the lift, and what the GFS does is essentially develop its own separate low pressure system to the east, which pushes much further north, and you can see that quite nicely here. Wednesday, 3 o'clock, this is not going to see any deepening, but this extension here is going to see deepening because it's in this kind of diffluent section of the jet, and so slightly stronger allows it to push just enough north that we get snow into the far south, as you can see there. And then eventually it does actually take over as the main low pressure center. If you compare the icon, however, you can see that while it's showing a similar evolution, as in we still have this different pattern across the kind of eastern half of the frontal zone, it just doesn't quite develop the frontal zone itself, and it essentially just stays with the main one on the left, the original one. This one doesn't develop, and so it just remains as a weak frontal wave passing to the south, well south of us for any snow. Now, to be completely honest, I think there is a slight element of this which doesn't make perfect sense. I mean, if you have a frontal zone and you've got strong upper level lift occurring over it, you would expect that to develop. But sometimes these things happen in the weather, and sometimes I personally am not reading the weather models and the situation as necessarily the exact truth. And so, having said that, which would maybe leave some room for a northward shift, which I'm not going to completely rule out, it's possible. I do think the overwhelming majority of models are suggesting that this is going to be an event for the far south, or a non-event at all. So my honest thoughts right now, what's going to happen: high ground locations across the southwest and some far south counties, essentially just inland from the coast, are going to see light flurries of snow tomorrow evening. I don't think it's going to be significant, and I don't think it's going to be anything too notable, but there will be light flurries of snow. If that does change, I will do a video as soon as that changes, but right now that's the current situation. Those are my thoughts. I think it's going to go south, and I expect the Met Office to remove their warning fairly soon. That's not the only snow event though that the GFS is showing. If I play through this model run again, this is showing another quite significant event: a frontal zone pushing into a high pressure, bumps into the colder air, heavy precipitation, and significant snowfall across the south, continuing actually all the way from Ireland, Wales, the Midlands, into southern England. This again would be significant, but if we take a look at the other models, European model, that high is too strong. It weakens, and we just get some flurries of snow again across parts of the far southwest, Wales, and parts of Ireland. If we take a look at the icon, you can see there's not even any precipitation for that to happen, and what ends up happening is we get this low pushing in from the north, the high squeezes to the south, and we just basically get much more mild, non-snowy conditions. The arpegge showing a similar thing to the European, so very light snow across the south, and the UKV showing potentially, I can't remember what it shows actually. Oh yeah, so showing some snow across the south and southwest, Northern Ireland, parts of Ireland, and then again snow into Northern England. So this one you can be slightly more optimistic on. With that, there's more room for things to change. However, having said that, I do think that the only reason GFS is showing this is because the low pressure tomorrow, it shows as deep enough to erode the high pressure to the point where you actually get the frontal system coming in, i.e. if the first snow event on the GFS doesn't happen, this one is probably not going to happen either. Having said that, I would keep a close eye on it anyway, just because it's that kind of scenario where you've got high pressure across the UK, a system pushing up from the south. From this angle, we haven't seen it for quite a long time. Potentially could be something worth looking out for. Though right now, my general opinion is it's not going to be a significant widespread snow event. Having said that, like always, keep an eye on the forecast and I will update you if it changes. So that's the situation for this working week. By the end of this working week, things are going to change in terms of the snow risk. It's going to feel cold and chilly, and that's because high pressure is going to be close to us, either to the south or to the east. So probably could be sunny for areas in the east. It will also feel quite chilly, maybe temperatures in the single digits quite widely, but there will be no snow risk, at least for the kind of foreseeable future from the 11th. Sorry, from the 11th onwards, and the signal is for it to remain very blocked. So this is the European weekly anomalies, high pressure across the UK. So it won't be feeling mild, it won't be feeling unsettled, but there probably won't be snow. Still, frost and ice remain a risk, and we can see what happens from that week onwards. But from that point, we're probably coming to the end of the cold spell. So that's about it for this video. Potentially, we're going to look at 2 more frontal snow events, continued risk of snow showers, and it'll be feeling very cold. But apart from that, that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.